What is a skill you recommend everyone to learn? This will come off as edgy, but I profoundly believe in the power of shutting the fuck up. Finding the clit. Really, my guys, it's important. I thought I found it once, but it turns out it was just her elbow. This should be a life requirement for straight men. I can't be setting up a PowerPoint presentation for every new partner. Cooking. How to turn off the water, power or gas to your home. I work for a utility company, and we'll do it for you if it's an emergency. But if it's after hours and the on-call guy is a half hour away, there's gonna be a half hour of water flooding your home. I have seen this happen. Find the valves when it's not an emergency, and know how to safely operate the Monsieur water meter wrenches like $2 at big box store. Keep a flashlight nearby, too. Always seems to happen at night. Learning how to efficiently Google and find the results you want. You'd be surprised at how many people can't do this. My god, the number of people I've seen type full fucking sentences into Google is absolutely infuriating. To be fair, the internet is big enough now that this usually works. Whatever question you can think of, somebody probably has a blog post or Stack Exchange thread with that question as its title. Still, I feel exactly the same way watching my parents try to Google something. For some questions I do that on purpose, just so I get a Stack Exchange. That way you have multiple answers, perspectives, and the experts roast everyone who had a wrong answer. In general, I agree with you too though. Basic first aid and CPR. Basic auto repair. Thank God I took auto in grade 10. Second language. I will be learning my third language if I find enough time to, but as of right now, I'm too overwhelmed with schoolwork. Martial arts. Everyone should at least know the basics of how to defend themselves. This is something I want to learn myself but don't know where to start. You can start wherever. I've taken a few martial arts, but I've never got far. I'm probably going to take karate when the pandemic cools down. There's no such thing as too late when it comes to martial arts. Unless your body literally can't handle it. But I'm assuming your body functions normally. Go out there and try it. Edited for spelling. How to spot a riptide. I've seen so many tourists especially swim directly into riptides and get pulled out. Please guys, learn how to spot a riptide. I feel this would be a great place to post some tips on spotting one and getting out of one. Swim to the side. They're usually pretty narrow. Writing well. People seem to think it's an intrinsic gift that you're either born with or not. But it is a skill you can build. Being able to express yourself clearly makes a world of difference both personally and professionally. To improve on writing, read more. Sewing is coming in real handy right now. I've made at least 30 masks and counting for friends and family who can't sew. Reading. Seriously, everyone needs this skill through their entire life. I got teased so much in school for reading books for enjoyment. To see full-grown adults that cannot read or read at least at a high school level is sad and infuriating. I think school curriculums could do with fewer of those reread this fucking boring-ass novel 200 times and overanalyze every shit detail, situations. But yes, something that involved reading a passage and rephrasing it in your own words and making inferences should be hammered into more people. I have a master's and can definitely read at a university level. But I still hate reading novels unless they're action-packed thrillers. 10 years of English classes in grade school took the joy out of reading for me. How to drive a manual transmission car. Don't you just love it when boomers say make all cars stick shift and cripple society? Driving stick is easy. I think that's a thing in the US and Europe. Almost everyone knows how to drive a manual transmission. Happy Cake Day. At least in Finland, you can drive the driving test with a manual car or with an automatic car. If you complete the driving test with manual car, you can drive both automatic and manual cars. But if you complete the driving test with an automatic car, you can only drive automatic cars. Of course, you can change your driving license so that you can drive manual cars. but it involves redoing the driving test with a manual car. So, driving the driving test with a manual car is basically the de facto standard in Finland, as there's really no point to do the driving test with automatic car. Except if you really don't want to drive manual car because of the difficulties. Swimming. Time management. Things as basic as leaving a couple minutes earlier for work because need fuel or need to get a coffee, or because there could be an accident somewhere and you may need to divert. And then, of course, learning how to use your time effectively. Making a list of things to do might seem like a great idea, but if it takes you longer to make the list than it would to do them, what is the point? All you've done is procrastinate. Also, learning not to get bogged down with side tasks. Like if you need to do a load of laundry, don't pause part way in to go change a light bulb. Get the laundry going, get it down, then move on to the next task. Otherwise you're going to lose time and what you need to get done might not be finished. In other words, learn priorities. My generation, me included, is desperately needing that, especially since we never had such abundance of stuff asking for our attention at once. Learning not to get offended by everything. The very basics of car stuff. Changing a tire is especially important, but also diagnosing basic problems and changing bulbs. Filling up the blinker fluid is also important. Me, personally, I recommend people understand and know gun safety stuff. And if it is something you'd be comfortable with, learn to use a gun defensively. And while it's not technically a skill, hashtag #CARRYAFUCKINGMULTITOOL. Carry one for a week. Doesn't have to be a big clunky one. Even a Skeletal comes in handy. And you'll be surprised how many times it is useful. Basic first aid is also a great thing to know. And change the piston return springs. If you are a hunter or outdoors person, learn to sew. As a younger man, a group of 5 of us went hunting. One of my friends slipped and ripped his leg open from just below hip to just above knee. We were over an hour's walk from the ute. Another hour or so drive to town. My friends always gave me a hard time about carrying a sewing kit when hunting. My friend bit through 4 sticks and passed out half a dozen times while I sewed his leg up, then superglued it closed. Took near 2 hours to carry him back to the ute. So by time we got to hospital had been near 4 hours since accident. Doc comes out after 45 or so minutes and asks whose sloppy needlework was that. Me, hand up. Doc, your stitching needs work, but you probably saved your friend's leg. Scar is ugly, but at least he still has leg. Small talk and navigating conversations. People may hate it, and for some good reasons. But being able to just have basic conversations with people is for moving up in your work, for promotions, meeting new people either at an event or through mutual friends, and practically everything. Small talk and just being able to talk to people in general is a skill that everyone thinks they have until they need it. To research the pros and cons of each side of an argument. Not just the pro of your point of view and the con of the other point of view. I'm talking about true open-mindedness. Cooking and cleaning. Cleaning seems like just a lot of work, but actually it just saves you time. Learn how to learn quickly. If you can figure shit out on the fly, you can do anything. Adaptability is very underrated. How do I learn to learn? Learning quickly. Financial budgeting. Agreed. This is something we should be teaching in school. How to budget is so important. We have built a society where instant gratification is more important than financial responsibility. Handling constructive criticism and learning from it. Changing a tire. Sewing on a button. How to follow a recipe. How to teach yourself basic skills using the internet. And how to tell the difference between a reliable source of information and whatever your aunt just posted on her Facebook profile. Thank you for that last bit. In English, one time some of these girls asked the teacher if an online article released in 2016 was more reliable than the article that was written by a person involved since the 2016 one was released at a more recent date. I assumed the article was on a historical event. How to walk away when you're mad rather than fight. I work a high school. You'd be surprised at how many kids never thought to just walk away. Bada boom bada bing. Someone's cracked the code on how to not be an idiot when it comes to fights. Most people don't realize that, but I'm hella glad I did. Same. In maths, a kid was annoying me and I just walked out of the class. When I was calmer, I came back in. Did that about 5 times before the kid got tired and left me alone. No one ever bothered me after that. Typing fast. The art of listening to listen, not to reply. How to cook, balance a budget, simple automobile mechanics. I can go on and on. How to run really, really fast in case of a zombie apocalypse. How to change a tire. Needed this yesterday. Good communication. Swimming. Second language, a lot of algebra, and give good oral sex to gals. CPR. At the very least, the alphabet in sign language. It can help greatly if you have to communicate with a deaf person. Programming. People need to learn how to use the car's turn signals. Place every single country on a map. It's not that difficult and it's good for academic flex. Took me 2 days. Coding. Why? I doubt the average person would make much use of the ability to make their own computer programs. Phone apps. Besides, learning enough to make something useful requires quite a huge investment. Taking Intro to Python on Coursera really wouldn't cut it. Greater than taking Intro to Python on Coursera .. really wouldn't cut it .. potentially automates the many repetitive tasks you complete daily, which frees up time to do more useful things. At a certain level, it's like learning how to sum things in Excel. I don't think most people have regular repetitive tasks to do on their computers though. At least not which can't be easily automated via Excel. Reading is pretty useful. Playing an instrument. Coding. There is gonna be a lot of things in the future that may require a slight bit of coding. Really? If so, I'm glad I listened when in computer science we were learning how to make a basic web page using HTML and JavaScript. Learning to read music, it's pretty much like a whole different language. And what would I do with this acquired skill? I mess around with a guitar. But you don't need to read music to do that. Patience. Coding. Piano. It's calming and a somewhat rare skill. A second language. Agreed. Driving. So long as you're physically able. I don't think everyone needs to own a car, and I'm actually a huge fan of public transit and living a car-free lifestyle, but I think it's one of those skills that everyone should at least have in their back pocket. Whether you need to rent, borrow a car at some point or drive somewhere in an emergency, it's just a handy skill to have. Yes, I was so excited to learn how to drive. I hated driving, but I wanted to be able to drive others around when they need it. Not just for emergencies, but for example when we go out to eat and they want to drink alcohol, I could drive back because I don't drink, or to help them go shopping or pick them up from the train station or drive them home if they missed the last bus. Like you said, it's just handy for you and others. Typing with all 10 fingers. I've worked at tech companies and seen people type looking downwards with only their index fingers. It's mortifying. Do you have any tips on how to learn to practice basic hand-eye coordination? Being able to perform the basics on any sort of maintenance or repair for anything you own. Plumbing, wiring, car stuff, computer and phone stuff. Knowing the basics makes life 95% easier when things don't work. How to be tactful. Speaking. Most of people can't speak well, that is sick. Throwing your voice. I swear it will fuck with people. Knitting. I recently learned how, and now I'm convinced I can warm myself and my family for generations when the winter hits. Also blankets and fuzzy, woolly socks for life. Communication is often overlooked. The ability to tie a tie. How to properly close and lock a stall door. Please don't ask why. Coming without ejaculating. You mean orgasming. Yeah, just small. You can carry it in a wallet or purse. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.